Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Titans of Altera, a 5th edition actual play podcast for gamers of all ages. I'm your host and Dungeon Master Joshua. Going around the table, we have...
Joan.
Delphin.
Witty.
Relnor.
Awesome! Way to go, guys. We're not in our usual table seating. The audio is probably going to sound different than what you're used to because we are recording through the intranet because of the current state of things in the world, which I feel like no one needs to be explained to. So
the intertubes.
It's been a while since we've recorded. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody remember?
Recap.
Thus far in Season 2 of the Titans of Altera, you guys started at Kaz Carrig with the remnants of the Four Kingdoms Alliance that had gathered.
Yes.
You'd been defending it from Titans for several months, and then an Urdin from the south came with wolves, reporting to be a friend, and he ended up revealing that he was actually an agent of Terrasol, the reportedly white god, and he said he had killed all of the Urdin leaders from the south and had come to finish the job, and his wolves turned into Titans. You guys fought him, and then you discovered at some point around there the system within the ancient ruins beneath Kaz Carrig that could teleport you to different locations in Altera, and you teleported yourselves to the well.
Oh yeah.
The well of the orcs, where you all encountered Valisol and you met a new individual named Jimmy, who called himself the Will of the Red God. He then gave you guys incentive to go to Alestria, and that's where you went. While you explored the conquered kingdom, you also were transporting your golems toward the city with Bertul standing watch outside the city, waiting for your golems to show up. Upon your
not gone forever.
Upon your exploration of Alestria, you encountered Iredel. She is a warden of the Kamma, which you learned was the name of the Red God. Oh, you guys found Davi as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we found Davi.
Yes.
You mean Allura?
No. Okay. Don't confuse me.
I'm just double checking.
Listen, you should be grateful that I'm doing this
to
give you some kind of help before the Ricky quiz.
I know. I feel bad 'cause I haven't teased you in so long. I'm afraid it's built up, so I'm going to try and repress it a little bit.
Dalphin, Winnie, and Iredel went to see what was going on in the District of Law.
Yes.
And while they were out, Relnor and Joan and Davi were captured by a group of dwarves and a paladin of the White Order who happened to be Podge from Lestrade, Winnie's friend, and who apparently had a falling out with Davi and the rest of their little crew that was following Wilbert into Alestria, and he ended up being persuaded by the White God to go into his service, which has been a very shaky thing for the rest of the group. You guys are not fans of it. And now I think you guys are questioning whether or not you're fans of Podge at all. So
I feel like he's a victim. But I feel like he could be problematic at the same time.
I think you're right, yeah.
Joan and Relnor were put in a cell while Dalphin, turned invisible by Winnie, went on a kind of crazy rampage in a white...
I wouldn't call it a rampage. I stabbed a horse and jumped out a window. That's all.
Stabbed a horse and caused a bunch of chaos during a procession late at night in the District of Law, and then ran into the castle, jumping over a bunch of people that couldn't see him, and explored the castle, discovered a draconic individual, a steward who calls himself Null, and then he escaped. You all came back together because the white
dude
Inquisitor Gemini, he
said he's a friend.
Somewhat rescued Joan and Relnor, and then took them to the keep where Winnie and Dalfin reconnected. But Iridel reportedly saw the Kama and then ran off, and we don't know where she is.
She thought it was
I bet it was Null, but she thought it was.
Yeah.
And then you guys were all together. Were brought before the arch cleric Harold Twinstep, the arch priest of the White Order, and he acts right now as the Holy King of Alestria.
He's a dude.
He is a dude, and you guys had quite the conversation with him. After that conversation, you did have another encounter with Vast and Podge, who had entered the room very briefly. We didn't know if it would erupt in a fight or not.
Winnie played it cool.
But you guys played it cool. Dalfin held his knives.
Cool as a cucumber.
And, or his kunai, and then, or whatever those blade pins are. And,
Emisi,
that's right. And Noble, or I guess
MSI.
Noel then was escorting you guys out of the District of Law when during your conversation you mentioned the name of Artemis, which Noel seemed to know, and he then decided to show you guys a secret area of ancient ruins that ancient ruins that he kind of led you down into.
Eric.
And you entered a big room with a seal on a big giant circular seal that had been broken in half, but opened basically because it looks like it was shut at one point, so not unnaturally opened. And there was essence of light and shadow eking out of it. And also, on his way there, he did tell you that he used to be called Noble. So you learned that Noel, at some point, he failed at his mission of keeping the seal sealed. And and somewhere in failing that mission, he then lost his name and now calls himself Null and seems to be kind of a bit of an emo steward. So,
oh no, a little bit of Eorg in there.
Yes,
I think.
Eeyore for sure.
Okay.
Does anyone require any other information? I thought that would just be a fair little download of the whole season.
That's a trick question, because if we did, we wouldn't.
Sorry, what are we doing?
You should listen to the last episode and see if it.
That's a wonderful idea that we should have had yesterday.
Oh, I should have done that. I didn't think about that.
I should have done that.
I didn't think about that.
I did do that.
That's a great idea.
That's okay. I'm the DM, so I need to do that. So you guys are okay. Here's the deal. You guys are welcome in the city of Alestria by the White Order, but they are watching you, is kind of where things landed with the White Order. And they don't want you. You guys will be held to the curfew standards still. But it is late at night, probably early morning, and you guys are down in some ancient ruins. You also noted at some point when going down there that in this space, you don't have mental contact with your
golems.
With your golems. And that is where we are. So all of our memories are somewhat sketchy about where we left off, but we're going to do our best to pick up where we left off on episode 21, A Noble Null. And I want to really quick clarify, in this space, these ruins, they're not ruins at all. They're incredibly well kept. Similar to the well, there are kind of rotating lights on the ceiling, kind of creating almost a day-night kind of sense within the room. And And the actual ruins themselves aren't so like straight and sharp cut. Some of them are actually very flowy and articulate in this area. So it's a very different ancient ruins. They're still covered with glyphs, and it's still made of that same kind of dark stone. But yeah, and so it's a very, very ornate space. But that is where we left you guys off.
What did Null say? I forgot. He said something at the end, didn't he? What did?
I'd have to look up the episode to get a specific.
Okay, never mind.
Specific words. I don't remember exactly what he said.
It was a real cliffhanger.
I think he said, "It is the seal."
Okay.
And it is broken.
Profound.
Yeah. So all four of you are together. You're all down there. It's just the four of you, and Null. So he kind of walks over to the seal, and you can see some of the just mist and smoke kind of eking out, kind of pool around him a little bit. And he puts a hand on one side of it, and he just says, "I failed. Though once I was the steward of this seal, I could not keep it shut."
What could you have done?
I do not know.
What were you sealing?
It was the power of beings you consider to be gods.
Valasol.
No.
Terrasol?
Yes. Their proper names are Terrasol and Kamasol. They were, or are, brothers.
Oh, so Valasol was never sealed up.
No.
Yeah.
Valasol,
Okay, that makes sense.
Valasol is their elder sister, and is who commissioned me to steward this seal.
Classic eldest sibling.
In fact,
Hey!
So that
she
begs the
commissioned
question,
myself and Vast to guard it.
Then who let him out?
Did Vass let them out?
No, though he has created a situation in which it was advantageous perhaps to let them out, but it was Kamasol who wished for the seal to be opened.
From the inside?
No. I must
Wait.
explain.
Was it just Terrasol in there, or were they both in there together?
Or was it just their power and they were outside?
Before your world was truly formed, there was a great war of the Keepers. In this war,
We spoke about this once.
many of them
Good job, Joan.
were killed, vying for power. 3 of the Keepers abstained from the war for a time. Valasol, Terrasol, and Kamasol. They believed it was a foolish endeavor. Nevertheless, it went on, and with each Keeper's death, their power grew. The Keepers are beings wholly united, and if one is to fall, their power is redistributed amongst the rest.
Yeah, we knew that part.
Good.
Yeah.
Eventually, as the war continued, the 3 decided to intervene and developed a strategy which would end the war entire. In doing so, they eliminated all of the Keepers except for themselves.
You're talking about the Titans.
Yes. Massive creatures of destruction, bloated and transformed through the power of the Keepers, manipulating the power of the individual.
That's heavy.
Yes. However, as apparently is their nature, the Keepers cannot truly coexist with one another.
But,
That's the nature of nature.
Terrasol wished to reform the world in an image he believed was perfect, while Kamasol believed that the world should develop of its own, and he wished to help guide it, while Valasol believed it was not their place to be involved in the building of worlds at all. Ultimately, they all agreed to wait and watch the world as it turned. But Terrasol and Kamasol could not sit idly by, and despite their agreement, continued to work their own way, to create a world they envisioned. While Valasol slept. During this time, the brothers began to encounter each other and would fight, you might say.
But only Terrasol's been using the Titans, right?
This is after the time of the Titans.
No,
In present day.
I mean now. Like, can Kamasol use Titans too?
I do not know. I know Terrasol had developed the Titans, but you mentioned Artemis.
Yes.
Yeah.
The creator of our golems.
He is truly the creator of the Titans.
Yeah,
We know that.
He's the architect.
Yes.
Yeah.
He created many things, and in his last days worked to end the work of the Keepers. But was unable. I had thought he had failed, yet here you are, speaking of golems.
His success lay dormant until it was activated by, I think, the arrival of Titans. I'm just assuming. This seems very coincidental that all the runes are waking up. Yeah.
That is very interesting. It was when they had begun awakening in this world. The brothers had nearly destroyed each other. And
Wouldn't that have been nice?
at the current the power that the Keepers held was immense, and they were not truly able to destroy entire each other. Rather, they split themselves.
Wait. They split themselves?
Split?
Yes.
Is that where you come from?
So, is Vass a part of Terra?
I do not know.
Are you a part of Vala?
I, if anything, am perhaps a part of Kamasol.
Oh.
At
Wait,
least my scales would denote as much. He kind of looks at his arm.
How about
What do you-
Jimmy?
He kind of takes a deep breath and he goes, Jimmy.
Big
fan, huh?
reaction to Jimmy.
Yes. Kamasol selected Jimmy to be his will in the world.
Because he's a human.
Yes. But Terrasol, I do not know who he selected as his will. But there is also the mind. And this, and he refers to the... Yes. Their consciousness, their cognitive thought. The will is all instinct, but the mind is the intent.
Oh, they have to dictate of their mind as well? Who their mind is?
Yes.
Oh, so do they even exist, or do they just disperse their ethereal parts to physical beings?
That is an idea that has been thought on for much time between the stewards.
Dude, how do we beat something that doesn't exist?
How many parts are there?
There's 7 Horcruxes.
There is the will.
One of them is me!
There is the will, the mind, the body, and the power.
Oh, the power's away from the body. Poor body.
This, he said, he points to the seal, he goes, was where their power was kept. They were truly dormant as long as this was sealed. But
Wait, so what? There's still I still see swirly whirlies in there. What's in there? Anything?
the remnants of their power.
Can we get some?
I would not interact with it if I were
I feel
you.
like that would be. I feel like you're asking them to possess you if you get their
not
power.
possess. I just want to utilize some of their mojo.
Not
But
possible.
it's capital P, not lowercase p.
Maybe Winnie can do it because she's awoken.
Pretty sure that would be me being like, yeah, sure, Terrasol, why don't you take me?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wish we could try.
No,
I know you were joking. I know you were joking about the Horcruxes, but I feel like you're on to something.
Yep.
It's like episode 1 all over again.
All of a sudden, you hear a voice cough, like a coughing sound, coming from within the seal.
Okay.
And you see a withered human hand reach out and grab one of the doors.
Oh.
And Noble steps back, or Noel, I guess is what he calls himself. He steps back and kind of looks shocked.
No, what is that?
I do not know. And then,
What do you mean you don't know?
Do I get a sense of what kind of magic this thing is?
you can do an Arcana check,
Yep, I would like to.
or if
Hey,
you have
can probably
Detect
hear my dice
Magic or
roll.
something like that.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be an Arcana check. Let me check. Yeah, Arcana check. Here we go. Ooh. 10.
So definitely magic-y, you know.
Great.
Um,
I knew it.
Definitely magic-y.
Next you see a kind of shaved head kind of step out, and it's
Is it you?
it's a human man. He's naked, and
And skeletal?
and the essence is kind of floating all around him.
I draw my weapon.
And he kind of steps up, and his eyes are very seem very worn almost into the sockets a little bit. He's not a skeleton, but he definitely looks like he hasn't eaten in a long time.
Malnourished.
And Noel kind of looks, and he's got his hands out a little bit to try and just kind of uncertain about what's going on and what to do. And then he kind of tilts his head and he says, "Joshua." And the figure kind of looks over at him and says, "Dang it." And then he falls to the ground and expires.
Expires?
And
He's dead?
And out from one of his hands rolls an amber orb, and it stops at Dalfin's feet. Or Relnor's
Whoa.
feet. It stops at Relnor's feet.
Oh, darn it. You knew I was going to pick it up.
I'm gonna
Can I
pull out a.
Can I tell what magic the Amber Orb has, or if it has magic?
There's too much magic in the whole area to fully... Unless you roll a really, really good Arcana check, go for it.
I'm gonna try again. 23.
Okay. For an instant, you felt no magic coming off of the amber orb, but seemingly as soon as the last breath kind of came out of this figure that just fell on the ground, you sense an immense amount of magic coming from the orb. And the magic is somewhat familiar to you, but you can't really put a finger on where you've sensed it before.
I think he just went into the ball or
No.
something.
No, who was that?
Ick.
So I'm gonna grab a. I want to pull out like a handkerchief and pick it up.
Okay, so Relnor, as you pick it up, it begins to glow with a bright amber light, and all of the runes in the room begin to fade in terms of their light and glow, and a lot of the room begins to be lit by this amber orb.
No. What's it doing?
And then all of a sudden you hear a cough, and the figure on the ground that looked to have been dead now begins to shift and move, and the glow from the orb begins to die down, and the regular runes begin to glow again. And the body before you that seemed sickly is now rising and incredibly well muscled and toned. And all of the kind of wispy hairs that were kind of maybe growing off of his like chin and hair have all kind of fall off. And he now looks like a incredibly healthy and young, like in like maybe in his 40s, but not like young, but not as withered.
Like the King of Rohan.
Human
Gandalf
man.
frees him.
Yeah, human man. And he kind of comes to his feet, and he says, he looks at Noel and he says, "It didn't work."
What didn't work? Who
And
are
then
you?
he sees Relnor holding the orb, and he goes, "Please give that to me." And he steps forward and reaches his hand out.
Relnor?
What is it?
"It is mine."
That doesn't tell us what it is.
I draw my weapon. I say, "Answer his question, weirdo."
Noel, who are these insignificants?
No, who is this?
Insignificance.
Well, okay. Everyone hold on.
Winnie takes off her cloak and she like puts a hand over her eyes and she inches towards him and holds out the cloak and she's like, "Could you just here?"
He kind of walks over and takes it and
Thought he was naked.
covers his lower half.
Oh.
Covers his lower half and says, "Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Joshua, and I am no enemy of yours. Unless
Forgive us if we don't just take your word for it.
unless you do
naked
not
man.
return to me my orb."
What you doing with it?
I'm stuck with it.
Not anymore. We got it.
I am immortal.
Sounds like a burden.
Yeah, that doesn't tell us what the orb is or who you serve. Who do you serve?
I serve myself. The orb is mine. It is me.
And
It is
Why are you
why.
hiding in
And
a
what-
sealed place? All withered and gross, and now you're normal and very attractive.
He looks at Null and he says, "Why did you bring them down here?"
We're the bringers of shade, you naked weirdo.
He kind of tilts his head, and Noel does as well. They both kind of tilt their heads and look at you.
We got the golems. We're going to fight the titans.
Yeah.
They know Artemis.
Very well, actually.
He says, "Are you ancients? Are you immortals as
No.
well?
No, we are
Nope.
chosen.
Very mortal.
How do you know Artemis?"
He chose us.
Joan kind of like is Artemis? No.
Yeah,
She's close.
he's my life. He's my life partner.
Yeah. They're roommates. They were roommates.
Brain mates.
Oh my god, they have a roommate.
Hey, Josh, can I roll perception to see this new guy? Does he seem? I mean, he hasn't attacked us or anything yet. So does he seem?
unarmed?
Yeah, I'd like to know if he seems
unclothed,
genuine
too.
or if he seems kind of sly.
Go ahead, roll that insight check. Good D&D move.
You on insight?
Yeah,
15.
15. Okay, he seems to be telling the truth. Like, you don't feel like he's hiding much in multiple ways.
I was going to say something.
But tis.
But you do sense he does have some level of anxiety at not having the orb. So that is a very honest. You can kind of see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Does this orb keep you eternal?
I am tied to it. Let's just say I spent many, many years in Fairhaven, and the elves kept me there by keeping my orb, and I would prefer not to have another hold it. And he reaches out his hand.
I will hand him his orb.
That was very
We don't
nice. of you,
believe in
Relnor.
either.
He takes it
Just
back
saying.
and kind of holds it close to himself and just like, thank you. Thank you
Are
very
you
much.
Joshua? Are you an Erden? Or do you just look like one?
I haven't heard that name in very long. Yes, I perhaps I am. So is he. He says we're humans.
He's a human.
Yes. But I haven't heard us referred to as Erden in a very long time.
Sorry, I have it on the brain.
That's all right. He starts speaking in the Erden tongue. Did you guys learn any of that while you were with them?
Nope. Joan might have, but I didn't.
I learned little bits. But
Yeah, I think we all
like,
kind of
I'm not
picked up.
fluent.
I know how to ask where the bathroom is and say, where is the library, and the cat is on the table. And I have 4 things.
Okay.
And my pants are blue.
Okay.
My pants are blue.
Joan, roll me a history check to see if you can remember the language. At least pick up a little bit of what he's saying.
I have to move the dog. Hang on.
Oh, and I also learned how to say Wolf Star likes cheese.
12.
12. Okay. Here's all you really pick up for what he says. He says something about something being nice, something civilized, something finally.
Okay.
Do you say anything do you try and say anything in Urdid in response?
No, I don't, because Joan doesn't like to look stupid.
So no one's responding to his Urdin language?
I just do.
We recognize
the
it,
shrug
right?
Emoji.
You could say something, but
I say in Erden, library, and put my hands up in the air.
So what he said was, it's been so long and it's so nice to finally speak with someone to speak with someone in a civilized tongue. And you go like this, and then when he says library and he just kind of takes a deep breath. I suppose that was more to hope for than I should have.
This is Relnor, the hero of the Erden of the South. I gesture to Relnor.
I wave.
So you have experience with the Erdens?
Yes.
We fought alongside them against the orc menace from the south.
The Titan.
Interesting.
And a large titan by the name of Orung the Fellhammer.
Ding, 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 ding.
Boy, I'm going to give Ricky an extra point on the Ricky quiz.
Yeah.
He kind of
That's season
That's not
1.
how it works. If you go into a test and you go, I know how to say library in Spanish, but the test isn't about
Our
Spanish.
education system would be better if that's how it worked.
My high school Spanish teacher, if I walked in and said that to her and said, can I have an extra credit point, she would have said yes.
Yeah, well, that's not how Ricky quizzes work. He doesn't get to decide what's on the quiz and then get 100%.
So Joshua kind of like he kind of shakes his head. He's like, I'm sorry, I was in Fairhaven for nearly 500 years, and he kind of waves a hand, and a stool kind of rises up from the ancient ruins, and it's got like it's actually like a it's more like a chair, like with arms and like articulated arms, and it's like all crafted and flowy, and he just sits down and takes a breath, almost kind of very naturally.
You're awoken.
Yes. Are you not?
She is. I point to Winnie.
Yeah. But I wasn't. It's a recent thing.
Winnie, can you give us chairs too?
Sure. And I I bend down and put my hands on the floor, and I'm like kind of patting around trying to figure out where a chair would be.
So you can kind of make it pop up wherever you'd like. It's kind
Can
of
I
like,
put them in a little circle, like across from?
yeah. Roll me a let's do what would be like focus?
Constitution?
In like gosh.
Is there any wisdom-based skills?
Yeah.
Like perception.
Animal handling, insight, medicine,
Ooh.
perception,
Survival.
survival.
Let's just do a history. Let's roll a history.
Okay.
Just because it's going to be based on your research you've done with Bertool and how well you kind of like remember some of the commands.
Okay. It's a 17.
Okay, so what kind of seats do you want to make?
I mean, just like maybe, yeah, just like stools.
Okay,
Like uniform or height appropriate?
I mean, I was not thinking of the height appropriate, but I guess I'm gonna make them all gnome height because that's the most natural thing to me. and I bring up 4 of them, and then I kind of like glance over at Null and I go, oh, and I make him a big one.
he kind of nods, and then as he's sitting down, you see him wave his hand, and it just kind of moves it a little bit to be not so like sharp and hard, so it's a little softer, smoother, and he sits down. And
I see the softness and I go, like, in my head, and then I like go over and make everybody's the right size and the softness because I feel outclassed.
Nice. So it takes you a little longer, and you got to focus a little bit more to do that with each one. But yeah, you successfully create everyone's little nice soft stools.
When I finish, I go, and I cross my arms real proudly.
And Joss was kind of like sitting back with one of his legs crossed over the other, and he's kind of rubbing his chin with his thumb and forefinger, and he says, "How long have you been awoken?"
Like 6 months.
And who made you this way? Kamasol?
Nope, the big sister.
Vala.
Valasol.
Yep.
She awoke you?
I know, isn't it weird?
And he looks at Noel, and Noel just kind of goes, I don't know.
It was this whole thing. So, like, I ended up in there because I was looking for my friend Bordeaux, and he was an orc who lived in the well with her. And then when I got there, they wouldn't let me go, and I was like, my friends are in a war, and Valasol was like, well, I'll awake you so that you can go get your friends in the war, and then the orcs can't keep you in here. So then she let me go, and then I got to stay awakened because I didn't tell anybody about her, but then I did tell somebody about her, but then she was like, oh, you can stay awakened, and I have no idea why that was okay, but it was great. It was like a decision Deus Ex Machina. It was great.
There she is.
And he listens intently. He's not overwhelmed or bothered by any of your fast speech or how much detail you give. He's taking it all in. And he says, hold on. Are you 4 from Lestrade?
Who wants to know? Yeah.
Correct.
He says,
Yeah, we are.
you're Justin's. They're Justin's. He's the one. These are his kids. And Noel goes, Justin?
What?
The redheaded captain?
Yeah, Justin. He's the...
Oh, sleeveless.
Right.
We met him after we killed Wilbert.
Right. He put you together. You're his hope for the world.
I don't know about that.
What's Justin's significance?
And we're gonna go ahead and stop there.
Boo! Boo!
A naked guy walked out and we sat down. That's all that happened.
We're 45 minutes in, so
Oh my goodness.
A naked guy walked in.
So these are kind of going to be shorter episodes leading forward, just because of this kind of new recording format. We want to try and get some more in for you guys and have enough time to do the post shows for our Patreon. But I'm really excited for you guys to meet Joshua. He's a character that was born out of the Patron games, and but he has become fairly integral to the world building, as much as other NPCs you guys have met. So I am excited for you to keep talking with him, and I'm excited that we're going to be recording more episodes. So I know that quality-wise, the audio might be a step down, but I'm just glad we're playing again. I miss seeing your 4 beautiful faces. I guess 3. I live with one of you, so I don't have to worry about
the most beautiful.
But just
no one's going to argue because she's pregnant.
Pregante. I just want to really quick. I want to say. I want to say to the community and listeners how blown away I've been at the love and support we've gotten, even though we haven't been putting out new episodes or even new Patreon content. It's been overwhelming, to say the least. I've gotten so many beautiful emails. I wish I could go through and read them all to you guys right now. I think it'd be fun to do that maybe at the end of the season, to just read you some of these messages. But
that's cool, man.
But really quick, I just pulled up one from Casey Bigman, and she says, "Thank all of you. You have made me so happy and brought me so much laughter. You are all so amazing. You are beautiful people, and you've kept me from feeling lonely in this time of quarantine." And
that's cool.
I can't tell you guys how much it means to us that that you're still listening and that you've been so supportive and loving. And if the show that we're making is in any way providing some kind of sense of happiness and joy in a hard time, I'm so glad. Like, it's more than we could have ever hoped for it to do. And so totally. I'm glad that we're back, regardless of the audio quality. And and I'm excited. I'm excited to try and get through season 2. It might not be as long as I had initially intended. We might run into a finale a little sooner, because I'd like to finish. No, I'd like to finish before our baby comes, because Kelsey and I are having a baby, and
when the babies do.
And so, but anyway,
we'll be in the middle of an episode, and she'll be like, "My water broke." And we'll be like, "Think about this, Dad. You win. Okay, we're done."
Yeah, we don't want that to happen during an episode.
You know that's not how that would go, Ricky. It would be like, and he shoots somebody, and now it's a cliffhanger for season 3. We'd be like,
I did not intend to leave on such a huge cliffhanger, by the way. That was I did not know that we wouldn't be recording for the foreseeable future.
We know that you were in Wuhan developing a virus.
Okay.
Guys, we live so close to the hospital, we could finish the episode with my water bill.
No.
Oh my god.
He finishes the episode from the bathtub.
Roll a d10! Breathe. Anyway, I love you guys so much, all 4 of you, and I'm so glad that we're playing again. I can't wait to keep playing with you guys. And listeners, from all of us, thank you so much.
Seriously.
So we will be here, and as always, I'm your host and Dungeon Master Joshua, and our beautiful, amazing, hilarious, and awesome cast going around the Discord chat table we have:
Joan,
Duffin,
Winnie,
Relnor.
Thanks, everybody.